Max Verstappen is one of the toughest drivers to race in Formula 1. Today we will take a look at why all F1 drivers hate racing Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is undoubtedly one of the most promising drivers in Formula 1 because of the incredibly fluid and smooth nature of his style. He is incredibly fast over the course of a single lap and an entire race. Since Verstappen's first days as a racer, he has been known for his aggressive driving style. Depending on where along the pit lane one sits, this can either be mesmerizing or maddening. The Red Bull Racing Team principal Christian Horner often says Max's best form of defense is attack. Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion and Verstappen's primary competitor over the past few seasons, has a slightly different take on Max's style. Hamilton said, "Max is kind of do or die. It's like you're either crashing or you're not going by." To put it another way, Verstappen will never give way, Hamilton added. He pushes it to the limit and probably beyond. When asked about his competitive mentality, Verstappen said, "I don't think you can go fast if you have a fear inside you." And this tactical fearlessness is a large part of the reason for his superior competitive edge and recent dominance, which includes winning the World Championship back-to-back in 2021 and 22. At the age of 25, he already has more Grand Prix victories than all but 5 other racers in the history of Formula 1. It doesn't matter where Verstappen starts on the starting grid, he has a chance to win, no matter where he is. And it is precisely when he is pursuing that his exclusive control of the racing line is displayed in its most ecstatic display. He skillfully overtakes other drivers with ease, hence F1 drivers detest racing Verstappen. Last season, Verstappen was once again criticised for engaging in excessively combative behaviour during his several encounters with Lewis Hamilton. During one incident that took place in Brazil, the driver for Red Bull forced the driver for Mercedes off the course. Also in Saudi Arabia, while trying to let Hamilton overtake him, Verstappen caused damage to the front wing of Hamilton's car. After the conclusion of this race, the commentator for Sky Sports F1, Martin Brundle, referred to Verstappen's driving style as too much. However, the Dutchman has made very little contact with the other cars throughout the season, leading many commentators to speculate that he modified his racing style for the 2022 season. Even when he was racing alongside Charles Leclerc at the beginning of the season, neither driver made any dirty moves. Over the years, Max's driving style has matured. Despite his maturity, Verstappen still possesses some of that underlying brashness, that simmering hostility. But a man for all seasons is exactly what Horner seeks. Horner said, "I think Max has shown now that he can deal with whatever the situation requires. He has been dominant this year. Brilliant, but he definitely still has that killer instinct. Don't worry about that." The technical prowess of Max Verstappen is one more reason why drivers in Formula 1 detest competing against him. He is not only a good racer, but also has a fantastic understanding of his racing car. Verstappen has a profound comprehension of the dynamics of driving, and he can effectively communicate this comprehension to the team in the form of specific feedback. He does frequently complain on the radio, but that just shows how sensitive he is. His clear thinking extends to his comprehension of what the car is experiencing, and he communicates it properly with the race engineer. His replies are consistently clear and to the point. As a result, his engineer receives exactly the information he requires from the driver. Because it strikes a healthy balance, it enables Verstappen to maintain his relentlessness and constant speed. The partnership with Jean-Pierre Lambiase is extraordinarily productive. It is on par with that of Hamilton and Bono. Even though you can hear them yelling at one another over the radio, the conversation is always productive. Also, Honda recognizes and values the accuracy of the technical feedback they receive from Verstappen. This provides them with information that may be applied trackside to deliver immediate improvements and gains over a longer period. In response, Verstappen is grateful to Honda for paying attention to the most minute elements, including the wiring configuration of its vehicles, because Renault in particular had trouble maintaining consistency in these areas. He often grumbles about the power delivery or the way the car feels when it is being braked. On the other hand, Honda has had to work on improving these aspects. It is really exciting to watch how he communicates with the engineering staff in recent years. We have seen drivers like Daniel Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, and even Sergio Perez finding it difficult to break through in the same way. Because of this, Max Verstappen is now a phenomenal driver and virtually unbeatable on the track. Verstappen has always been a driver who is capable of completing a race effectively. Nevertheless, over his tenure in Formula 1, he has developed his game to the point where, on Sundays, he is very near to being unbeatable. As a result of his ability to overcome a pace deficit and execute successful overtaking maneuvers at crucial times, he's been able to surge from strength to strength. When it comes to wheel-to-wheel racing, he's always in the right place. That's just instinct. Although there are still certain instances in which his judgment isn't flawless, as what happened with Hamilton at the 2022 Brazilian GP. Verstappen has learned how to ensure that he doesn't ask too much of his opponent when passing, but in most cases, he is able to strike the ideal balance between precision and aggression. During his time at Toro Rosso, he dedicated a lot of effort to improve his knowledge of tyre management, and the results of that work showed in the way he races. And throughout the course of the years, he has expanded upon it. Earlier in his career, Verstappen was guilty of being excessively aggressive and moving around in braking zones, which was a liability for his defense. In 2016, on the Kemmel Straight in Spa, we witnessed his infamous move on Raikkonen, but he has since learned to control himself in those situations. It is very evident that he has never been intimidated by anyone. If we go all the way back to his rookie year 2015, we can see that he was able to compete with the top drivers in the United States Grand Prix. He was always confident that he could compete at the highest level in Formula 1 and has spent his entire life getting ready for that opportunity. Verstappen has had 162 F1 starts under his belt, so that makes the experience an interesting question because he's still only 25. However, he was born to be a race car driver. His parents, Jos Verstappen and Sophie Kumpen, were both very fast karters in their day, and he has spent his whole life gaining experience while driving. In addition to this, he has the benefit of being able to gain knowledge from Jos's errors. After what was ultimately a failure in his own highly promising career, Jos has talked about attempting to show Max the guidance he never had, and because of this, he's considerably different from the typical driver. No race car driver, not even Lewis Hamilton, who received his training at McLaren, has that level of foundational experience. However, for Verstappen, participating in karting at such a young age wasn't just about winning, it was also about gaining experience, in addition to competing in the unusual categories. He also competed in shifter cars, where he won the World Championship despite competing against men with a great deal of racing experience. As he has progressed in his racing career, he has avoided taking the path of least resistance and has instead taken on new challenges. As a result, at the age of 25, he has likely reached a place that would take others another 5 years to accomplish. Jos once claimed that in karting, he used to avoid putting a little oil on the clutch to improve the start, just so that Max had more work to do. He had to fight his way forward. That reflects the mentality. It wasn't enough to simply win. Rather, it was imperative to win the hard way and learn your art. Because of this, his innate talent was honed and he was groomed to become the skilled driver he is today. In that regard, he's the ultimate experiment in what happens when you combine nature with nurture, and this is why he's so driven to extract more and more from himself. All of these things contribute to Verstappen's outstanding performances on the track, which is one reason other F1 drivers don't like racing Max Verstappen. What's your thought about Max Verstappen's impressive abilities? Let us know in the comment section below.